We're okay. We are
What were
live.
you saying? What were you
I,
saying?
I,
Ah, yeah.
hello.
Hi, Rick. How are you?
I'm fine, Fati. How are you?
Good. I got beds today. I'm feeling amazing.
I heard that. I mean, yeah. I did. Did you share that your troubles with? You've been waiting for these beds for how long?
Almost a month.
Almost a month. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
But let's not spend time on there. It
no,
was just the timing of it was a little.
of course. Well,
Keeps
it's
I love how my life keeps me on my toes all the time.
yeah,
Let's just put it
yeah,
that way.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, no, we don't want to waste a time. Although spending time with you and us bantering isn't a waste of time, is it? But
No, it's not. Nice
we
way for
have
it.
for the first time, I am so thrilled to have a guest. Like this is a total new experience for us, isn't it? Um,
We're upgrading.
is this? Oh, we're upgrading.
Yeah, it's an honor to have her
Yeah,
on. It's
yeah,
like I feel really excited to have her on with us to
yeah,
get her perspective. She's an expert in what our conversation is going to be today, and it's something that we all have to deal with in our lives, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. And just to give you a quick little background, and we'll bring her in right away. I met her name's Joanne Sapers, and I met her in a workshop. Um, and there was something about this lady that just made me go dig a little deeper. So I went into her website and I started looking at the testimonials because we had talked about having a guest for quite a few weeks,
Yeah.
and there was just something that came from one of the testimonials, and I'm just going to quickly read a couple of lines, but it says Joanne Sapers is an angel. Seriously, she works exactly how I imagined an angel would work. Joanne is truly gifted. She knew exactly how to guide me every step of the way to a fulfilling relationship. And I got major goosebumps. I said, this is the lady that we have to have on our show, especially around Valentine's Day, right? And so I'm just going to bring her in and introduce everybody to her. So come on in, Joanne. Hi, Joanne.
Hi, Rick. Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Welcome.
thank
Yes.
you so much. It's such an honor to be with you and Fati, and I just have goosebumps listening to you because I know it's me, and yet it's not me. When you talk about the angel, I get
Mm.
to see every human being as an angel,
Oh,
and that makes everything so much easier and freer. And I get to feel that love in every human being, whether I agree with them or not. It doesn't matter. So
wow.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Such an honor to be with the two of you.
I get a feeling this is going to be a major goosebump session here.
It is. Like already, I feel like that's such an amazing and powerful mindset shift, right?
Yeah.
To really look at every person in your life as an angel, like their true essence, like their soul, really connecting to their soul. It helps. It does help in those moments that you feel angry or resentful, or you don't like the behavior, right? So I love that you said that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
So Joanne, tell us a little bit about yourself, and how you got into relationship coaching, or wherever you would like to go. But
Thank you, Rick. As you're asking me that question, I'm kind of laughing because I did everything in such I'm going to use the word unsuccessful way, even though everything is success. And I say it that way because what I wanted, I didn't know how to bring it forth. And where it came from were all the lessons I learned by not doing things in the way that were bringing me the results that I wanted. So I didn't get the results I wanted, and yet I am living the result I always dreamed of in terms of my relationship with the universe. and what were my issues, my problems, my concerns in life, my feeling of lack of worthiness that came from years of blah, 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 is all now here that I get to teach and share and be about what really is real about life and helping people around forgiveness and to experience the love of who they are. So that, everything that we are going through, sometimes stuff is so difficult. And I was in that why, and I lived as a victim for many years because I didn't know how to get out of it.
Mm.
So now just helping people to wake up to their beautiful soul is the gift that I feel so, so privileged to help women with, especially. Nothing
That's so
wrong with guys.
that's
No.
so powerful. There's something that I would like to ask you to kind of elaborate a little bit more on, because you said something really powerful. You said the results that I got were not the ones that I initially wanted. I mean, I'm not using your same exact words, but the word I'm living what I really wanted now. Can you just elaborate on that? Because it to me speaks to the fact that to that surrender, the power of surrender and allowing, right?
Thank you. Thank you, Fati. What I can say is I wanted things to be different so badly that the more I wanted it to be different, the worse it got.
Okay.
And
Mm.
so in front of me, and this is how I believe that the divine creator was putting in front of me so I could start to see what was going on from the inside out and to realize what's real and what isn't, and what I have control of and what I don't, and what stories I was telling myself. So I was making my life more difficult by the more I wanted it. My heart knew, my heart felt, or my mind felt especially, that I didn't have it. So I was getting the exact opposite result I wanted until, like you just said, until I surrendered.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't surrender easy. I have to say that.
You were hanging on, were you?
I was like this. And so that's why I teach the open hands, right? The open, surrender, 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 because we don't have the answer yet. The answer lies within you, within me, within Rick, within all of us, anyone listening. The answer is not on the outside. The outside changes from the inside with that surrender to love and letting go of the fear. I lived in such deep fear, I would not feel anything. I had a PhD in not feeling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is so powerful, because it really does, to me it says, the power of shifting that focus on the ultimate feeling that you want to have, right? Versus the how and all the things that you think are going to create that feeling that you want to control, right? I want to control the how and all the different details of how I'm going to feel this way. And ultimately, even though you didn't get it the way you expected it, you still got the feeling, right? That's the ultimate goal for all of us, is what we're chasing, right? Happiness, fulfillment. That's what I'm hearing from you. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if you want to add to that.
I'll add to that because that's beautifully said. What I'll add, it was giving myself permission to finally feel and not judge it, to go into the feeling, and as women, we know that younger part of us that didn't get fed the truth because of our story. That's where the healing took place. And as I would allow myself to heal, the truth was revealed in the love, in the acceptance, in the knowing that a story is just a story, and we get to love ourselves with that story and let go of it if we choose.
That's really powerful.
I know. I'm just sitting in it right now.
Yeah, it's like you were saying, it's so different than the way we think things are going to turn out, right? We have a we have a vision, Like, okay, if I do this, this, and all of those things are on the outside, or they were for me, for decades. If I could just see something change on the outside,
Yes.
then I'm going to know my world is okay and I'm safe.
Yeah.
Yet I didn't know how to get to the inside of me because I wouldn't feel. And it's like an oxymoron. You're not going to, if you're not willing to feel, you can't heal.
Such a good point. Such a good one. And it's also like when we create these plans is from this perspective here, right? And as we evolve, we have a different perspective, right? And often we don't adjust that vision, right? That plan that we have envisioned. And it's important to really understand that it's an ever evolving plan, even when we feel like we more or less know what it takes, right? So I really love what you just spoke to. And I was wondering if you could tell us how you overcame that moment of like, resistance and like just holding on, like you were saying, like, what are some things that you did? What was the pivotal point? What was the thing that changed it all?
I mean, the pivotal point was that being married 4 times, which some people would say, well, why don't you just give up? But I believe in love. I believe Rick is laughing. like maybe you really do. Plus I was engaged Rick twice,
That's the ultimate practice right there. You're practicing
I was going to
to
fix
become who you are.
exactly. I was going to show men their level of worthiness. That was what I was here to do somewhere in my psyche. And then when I was turning 40, the person I was with, and I was engaged to him, he became suicidal, turned it on me without going into the major details because they're pretty intense. I died for 4 minutes. I left my body. And here's the thing I heard Joe. I said, okay, I'm ready. However, we say that. I saw the light. I mean, I could still see that light. I could still feel it. And I heard, it's not your time yet. You have service to do. And I didn't know what that meant, but I knew it was important. And I still didn't have the best choices after that in marriage 4. So in marriage 3, and 4 got better. Okay. And now, and this is the thing, you're laughing. I'm with the love of my life for over 9 years that I love, adore, and respect. And that's why I do what I do now. That's why it's my mission to help women to learn how to understand what's important to them and what stories are no longer serving them and forgive themselves because it's just a story. We weren't given tools. We didn't know. We had an example of parents or we didn't have parents, whatever, but we didn't know the way to allow ourselves to be the best version of ourselves when we were younger.
That to me like speaks also to, you're saying these stories, part of the stories is the conditioning and the stigma around some of this stuff, right? Being divorced. I'm going through a divorce right now. So I completely like connect with that, right? And I love the fact that you're here speaking of it and you're owning it and you're proud of it. I've been married 4 times, engaged twice, and there is absolutely zero judgment there, right? Like of yourself, because it's easy for me not to judge you, right? But it's ourselves that often, like we become the greatest critic of ourselves, right? And I love the fact that you're just this model of embodying what you teach and what you help people with. Really, you know what? I've been married 4 times and it has brought me where I am. And I really want to emphasize that there's so much awareness in that. And, it's a whole other level of understanding why you're here and like who you are and really embodying it.
Well, thank
Well,
you. And if I could add to that,
Absolutely.
in marriage number 1, I wanted what I wanted. The rest of the world really didn't mean anything to me. I didn't understand why people were concerned about the world. I really didn't. I was so about me wanting to receive. because I didn't know how to give to myself, the ultimate victim, because everything that you did was probably way better than I did. You probably knew all the answers. So I looked for everything on the outside. Marriage number 2, I married a guy that said, if you love me, you'll do this. You'll buy me a Dodge Daytona Turbo Z. And and I'm laughing because you know what? These are the gifts that I received to turn around. I never understood, Fati and Rick, why somebody thought that, like, even judged me with 4 marriages. I really never did. And yet, because I didn't judge myself, like you said, only because I believe so deeply in love. I said, well, you know what? It takes 2, and I congratulate you when I hear someone's divorced. It means it wasn't working out for one of you, right?
No,
And
it
you're both
wasn't.
free now.
Yeah.
And then you're both free. The truth of it is, you both become free.
Not quite yet, but
Not yet. It
I'm still
takes
in the process, but free emotionally.
right,
Yeah, free.
right. You get to
Yeah,
heal. You
yeah,
get to heal now.
yeah, yeah.
So to me, there's a gift of divorce, there's a gift of separation, there's a gift of arguments, there's a gift of everything, because it's taking the person, if they choose to, it's taking the woman back, or the man back to who they are, what's important to them, what's important to you. Can that take place in the relationship you're in right now? Is your partner wanting you to change, and yet you love that part of you? So there's
Hmm.
so many pieces of healing when we're in a relationship that we don't really get to see the same way when we're not in a relationship. Yet it's twice as difficult sometimes to get to know ourselves when we're in a relationship, when we put our focus on the other person.
Absolutely. And one of the things I heard clear, and what Fati was, I think, pointing to too, is how you speak the truth, how you speak your truth. And when you speak from your truth, it resonates.
I don't
It,
have a choice. I
well,
don't have a choice.
well, okay. Yes, yes. It and that's what lands on people. That's the purity of love, is when you're speaking the truth on what is real for you. And this week, it was on the 11th was my 44th anniversary. 40, is that 44? Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say your 44th birthday. I was like, what?
Hey, if you could be 29, I could be whatever, right?
That's
Um,
right. I am 29.
that's the truth, by the way.
I, I'm not surprised. And you look like you're 20.
There you go. Thank you, Joanne.
Oh, I can see where I'm going to be. Where it's okay.
And you look like you're 30. How's
Don't have
that?
to have plan back all the time. No, I I was pointing to, and I was writing a lot this week too, and a few of the things that I was writing about was unconditional love,
Mm.
the as the basis of who we are. It's the conditions that remove us away from that feeling or that resting place of experiencing what unconditional love really is all about.
I got the chills when you said that because it's so true.
Yeah. And I'm curious on your experience of, in your journey about unconditional love.
Thank you for asking. I have become so soft. That's what I teach, the softness that we can be to our soul. Like our soul already is pure love. It doesn't need any fixing. No human being needs fixing. That level of healing of that, when you're speaking of unconditional love, there's there's no solution when we're not coming from that place of love. Like love doesn't disappear.
Hmm.
I was thinking about how we open the front door and it's raining. It's like, oh, okay. But we know the sun's going to come through, and we don't need to focus on the rain. We can focus on the sunny parts of everything. And it's That unconditional love, Rick, I think is not I think I know, it's believing more in the invisible than what I see. It's, I say I don't do anything perfectly. And Spirit's always laughing at me. Here's another one, Joanne. I said, okay. And I've learned how to just be so light and gentle with myself, like crazy gentle light. And I can mess up and I can be okay with that. I can probably I have tuned into that, yes, I'll do the best I can. And yet, if it's not coming out the way I thought into condition, it's got to be okay. It has to be, because the truth of it is this infinite world, this infinite love, this infinite universe is absolutely perfect. So therefore, I must be, you must be, Fati must be, all 8 billion of us humans and beings and things must be designed in that level of perfection. And that's where we can go for healing. And it can never let us down. It never does. Right? When you go in, right, and you go within and you feel something, it never says, sorry, I'm busy right now. Could you come back in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's and it's just the notion of, like, when we say falling in love, for me it's we fall back into love because that's who we are. Right. So when I'm expressing in my own conditioned way, that removes me from that, because it starts to point me in a direction away from, and that's when I notice, oh, I've got a bit of a condition about that, I'm not going to even call it a condition. It's more like a preference kind of a deal, right? And it was so interesting to be consciously aware of it, specifically this week, of just noticing and letting go. And like you said, like that's the only way you can hang on to things. Right. and and there's so much energy in doing that, but the release, like, it's so relaxing when when you when you just let go. So
When you
it's
can
yeah.
trust the let go, right?
Well,
When the trust piece is there, right?
yeah, yeah, because
Yeah.
you experience, and then when you do, you fall back into that grounding,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And I always teach my clients, I said, whatever it is you are desiring and you want, put it in your hands. Keep your hands, just like you're saying, Rick, wide open. If it's meant to stick, it will. If it's for your good and the good of all, great. If not, let it go. So what is for your good, what is for the good of all, can land there with love, and like you were saying, we go like this, and yet we're just here to learn how to keep going like that. And that's the
Totally.
giving. Right? That's that giving, the receiving, the sharing, the being, the trusting, like Fati was saying, the trusting, and it's not even in the outcome, it's trusting in the journey,
Mhm.
because we don't know what the outcome truly is that's for our highest best.
Yeah.
Trusting that it is for our highest best, right? Like, because if when that trust is there, then it's easier to actually do the trust thing.
Yeah.
I
What if it's
love.
even better though than we think? It's even better, it's more grand, it's going to feel the most phenomenal way, and then we're in the way telling it, the divine creator, God, source, spirit, what universe, energy, whatever we decide to call it, and we're trying to call the shots.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, this is where money comes from. This is the kind of relationship I want. This is what I want him to look like. This is how I want him to think. This is how old I want him to be. Right?
Guilty of that.
We all are. We all are. And I don't know about the guys on that side, but
Yeah.
it's the freedom. Like, okay, what I want to know is the people in my life, that they're open to their heart, Those are the people I choose to be surrounded by, and I choose to help everybody. And yet, people I want to be around, because we can then spread more love. I mean, that's what you two are doing. You're spreading this unconditional love from the infinite universe through you two to all. This is you just do a beautiful, beautiful job opening your hearts. I love you both.
Thank you. Thank you,
I feel
Joanne.
like
So,
Oprah now. You get love. You get love.
But
Nobody leaves empty-handed.
yeah, well, you know what? And the truth is, I love that you just said that, because the truth is that I used to feel like it was the physical things that were showing me my worth. And now the level of joy and gratitude and appreciation I can feel in my heart in the present now moment supersedes anything I could get physically, because that's just temporary. This grows. How you both feel, that grows. Our inner work, what's going on with that when you're a mother, when you're a father, when you're a grandparent, when you're a human, and you look at strangers and you can feel who they are and you're just sending them love. We can do it. We're all telepathic because we can bug each other just in thought, right? And it's
for
just
sure.
tuning into that love and trusting, like you were saying, Fati, trusting that there's a path for you, that there's a path for all, that's for each one's highest good. And how can we allow ourselves to do the service here on earth in the way that we are meant to show up? Because each one of us is uniquely designed as the spirit itself. And there's only one Rick, there's only one Fati, there's only one Joanne. And yet we're born into believing there's competition. And all that does is take people away from believing in the infinite.
Yeah. And
So
separation.
And separate.
there's something that comes up for me as you're talking, like as you walk us through this journey that you went through and what you believe in and who you are now. To me, is the journey of becoming, right? All these marriages have served you along the path to become who you are. And there's specifically one thing that you spoke to earlier around being able to know who you are in a relationship versus knowing who you are outside of a relationship and just being by yourself. And that really spoke to me because I found that to be a very powerful part of my journey. Just really finding myself, finding who I am after motherhood, and then becoming a single mom and just being me, right? And and then yet along this path and this journey, I'm finding out that I do want love in my life. And there are some things that I'm not going to be able to find out and figure out on my own, right? But there are some things that I can only find out and find, this person when I know who I truly am, right? Attract the person that matches me, that aligns with me. And yet there are parts of being in a relationship that can only be done being in a relationship, right? Because I think the reverse can be true, because you could spend so much time on your own and like never try again, right? Like be kind of like, I feel really good on my own. I don't need a relationship. I mean, that may be somebody's choice. But for me, I felt like, yeah, I would like to be in a relationship again. And there are all these things that I'm afraid of, right? That are part of my past experience I'm bringing back into my, present, projecting into the future. And yet I cannot just solve them by sitting there thinking about them, right? It takes actually having the courage to step into another relationship to find out how is the new me, who I am, who I know that I am today, going to show up in a relationship and challenge myself that way. So yes, I was wondering what your experience is with that. And, I'm sure you work with clients that go through similar things like I am. And and what is that journey of becoming? What is it? What was it for you? And what are your thoughts around that?
I think for me, it's different than many of the women that I work with from that place, because I just believed it would always work out. like Like, it didn't matter my past. Like, no big deal. Like, other things in life have been more challenging for me at times. But when it comes to love, well, of course I'm going to find the right man. Of
Mm,
course it's going to be easy for me. So that belief has kept me from believing more in the old stories.
mhm.
So once I got healthy inside and I did the healing, I was then ready. Again, it took a while. I was then
That's an
ready.
important part, right?
It is. It is. And
Yeah.
I can answer some of your questions because I love those questions because I am also a dating coach, even though I specialize in helping married women focus on intimacy and passion and love in their marriage. It's like, first of all, I don't say no to someone that asks for support because that's what kind of love coach would I be, right? Especially if it's what I love doing. And I love helping women when it comes to dating because it's so easy to get caught up in the fear of attracting what didn't work.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
You
my
got me
fourth,
there.
okay. So my fourth marriage, which felt like at the time like a soulmate relationship, so many aspects of it were really healthy. So from that
Mhm.
place, I started to feel really secure on my spiritual journey, which was totally not where he wanted me to go or where he thought I was going. And I did leave the relationship, but that's what I came out of with that. And
Mm,
when you're in a relationship, if you can look to see from the one that you left, what is your growth that has taken place that has
mhm,
allowed you to say, you know what, I don't belong here anymore. Whether there was emotional abuse or some kind of abuse, or whether it was just that you grew apart.
mm,
And the gift of growing apart for anyone is that our souls are always open, right? And we all have our service to do here on earth. And it might have just been a stopping point where you were. And you take from the loving relationships that you've had, you look to see where you are now, and where you are today is totally different than before you met that person.
absolutely. Yeah.
Right? So you go to that relationship that worked out, or parts of that relationship that you just fell in love with that person, in love. And yet there were characteristics and qualities that totally didn't serve you, and you wanted to look the other way because there was enough of what appeared to be what could work.
Mm. Or what you wanted to see in that moment.
What you wanted, and
Right.
that can be so strong
Mhm,
that it doesn't matter how spiritually tuned in you are, you're still a body.
mhm,
You're on earth, you're still
mhm,
human, and we get to be imperfect and we get to learn. And what if the person that you were with, that you're getting the divorce from, was that mirror to show you, like, hey, this isn't the right path for me. We're not tuned in the way I thought. Thank you, God, so much for this connection of knowing who I am in my heart. Like, he or she lets you know, like, oh, okay, I just took a left or a right. And so many times we're meant to leave a relationship before we do.
So true.
And
Yeah.
that's where I have come in to help many women too. But it's the timing. Like, when you don't feel a sense of urgency, you know, it's okay. It's just
I mean, and yet I feel like when you do is exactly when you're meant to do it, right? Yes, I could have done it earlier, and yet I wasn't ready to do it, right? Yet I wasn't seeing all those things reflected back on me. I wasn't seeing all those things about myself, right? Uh, I love how you put it. It's just showing you that you need to go into a different direction, but it's also like, for me, it was very much like, okay, let's just be very honest here. How did I show up? I mean, the tendency at first is to really focus on all the things, the victim, what he did, and the blaming, and he's this and he's that, right? And when I started doing the work, like, and get really honest with myself and take responsibility and shift out of victimhood, I had some stuff to look at myself. I was like, well, there's some work to do here. Where did this come from? And that was the part that was really difficult and hard to admit sometimes, right? That's a part that I think most people run away from because no one wants to feel like something's, I'm saying quotes, wrong with them, right? But nothing is wrong with us. We're all in this like school called life and learning, right? But that's not the way I was seeing it before due to conditioning, how I was raised, right? I felt like something was wrong with me. And I learned that it was just the way that I was going to change out of that, right? To go through what I went through and looking at the things that I could have done better or the places where I didn't show up as powerfully was going to show me how to do it differently next time, right? Owning it was liberating, right? Being able to take responsibility and stop blaming I wasn't doing it for him. It was more liberating for me than anything, right? And yes, I seeing the other person as who they truly are, right? This soul, this child, like whatever you want to call the person, the angel is always behind the clouds, right? Sometimes the clouds are just there to tell us that there's stuff to look at, there's stuff to work on, those are all your signs of where you need to look into and dig into, and so that you can get those clouds out of the way. And everyone's going to do it on their own time, when it's right for them. So there was, for me, that journey was a journey of really like Rick does, doing this instead of that, right? And just really taking a close look at myself and how I could really see beyond the veil of the other person as well, and his true essence. And because even in the worst, the most toxic relationships, the love was there. I didn't marry someone that I didn't love. In that moment, he spoke to my soul, he served my needs, he met me where I was, right? The love was there, it wasn't fake. Yet it changed, right? Because we change, we grow apart. And if we don't know how to handle that, the relationship can become very toxic as well. So it was, to me, that was the most, out of all the things that I've been through, which I, mentioned to you, there were pretty significant life events, traumatic events. But this was the one that I think it was like the last drop, that kind of shifted everything for me, like my entire attitude towards life. Like I went from being a victim to really taking charge of my life and owning it and taking responsibility without judging myself, without feeling bad about myself, without falling into the victim, reaction. So, in the reactiveness as well.
And you could only do that because you've been learning unconditional love and acceptance for yourself.
Yeah.
Without that, so it's like time to congratulate yourself for the healing that work that you're doing, and that you're giving yourself permission. It's from that place when you think about dating or letting a man into your heart again. I know. It's to know that you're not the person that you were when you made the choice with your partner, and that you've learned wonderful, I call it the unwanted gifts of the
Mhm.
universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because look at how it's helped you to wake up to your soul even deeper of trusting. It's like things will click where before they wouldn't. So things that were maybe kind of blurry of what was acceptable and what isn't. It's like, oh no, this part of my soul needs to be fed. And I love this part of me and I honor it. I'll give you an example. The man I'm with now, he's not really tuned into spirituality. When I saw his picture on Plenty of Fish, that's how we met, I said, ooh, I could feel his soul and his heart. I said, here's a man that has a big heart. I want to get to know him.
Mm.
So that's what I fell in love with before we even had our first date. And that's the piece of our relationship, that he's not in like the spiritual positivity world that I'm in, yet that's who he is in his heart. And I said to him, when I said, I don't know what road I'm on. I know I'm growing. I'm always learning. I'm a seeker. And I will tell you that if that's okay, if you're comfortable with that, fantastic. If you're not, that's fantastic. We just don't really belong together then, you know. So he honors and respects and loves what I'm doing. It's just not his thing. And for me, that's perfect. That's perfect. So it's what is right for you. You know, I know a lot of my clients and friends and colleagues that are on their spiritual path, they want that from a partner. And I just want that love. I want to know that person is deeply committed to caring for this universe, loving themselves in the way they do, you know, and that I get to be perfectly imperfect because I'm not planning on being perfect. And I get to screw up and I get to forgive and I get to lighten up, you know. And so that's in the relationship world. That's why I'm bringing it up. Being able to be light with love and trust and respect is really big. It allows the fun, allows you to laugh. Like we were talking about laughing, I think the first time we met, and how important laughing is. Being light and trusting the universe. That's all really light.
Hmm.
The heavy is the fear. The heavy is the dark night of the soul. The heavy is believing more in this physical world than we do in this infinite universe of universal laws versus human laws.
I mean, I love what you just said, because to me, that's just, like the way you're describing it, what comes up for me is being in alignment with yourself and in integrity with yourself, and really finding someone whose values match yours, right? It's that ultimate alignment of who you are and what matters to you, and being able to be who you are in the relationship, not having to change to align yourself more with what the person wants or is or does, right? And so that to me really makes that piece of really looking at yourself and like understanding who you've become and who you are now after a relationship even more important, right? Because if you don't have that piece of clarity, how are you going to find what you're looking for if you can't find who you are within yourself? Does that
Right.
make any sense?
Absolutely. And asking yourself the questions that are going to take you there from your heart. You know, like I help my clients with their profiles, and first they write it, and I said, "This isn't you. You know, this is the superficial you. What about everything you truly care about?" You
Mm,
know, and that's a sense of vulnerability. Yet when it comes to, let's say, an online profile or an organic profile, really it's the same thing. One's just goes on the internet, and one goes in your heart. And
mhm,
for to know the clarity, like you were just saying, Fati, of what you desire and really being honest with that. Like
mhm.
really knowing what serves you, because that's how you're serving the universe, right? And earth and humans and animals and whatever else. And that's where you have this unlimited capacity to give love, because you're sharing from your heart. It's not a doing, it's coming from that state of love, that state of being, of unconditional love, like Rick was talking about.
And it knows no limits.
And it knows no limits. It has no limits, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There are no limits. That's only humanly designed, you know, and that's not our nature. That's only our
Well,
nature in the fear.
I mean, being able to express who you are freely, to
Mm.
me, is the ultimate limitless state of being, right? Like I can express who I am and not be, I can express who I am, and like there's so much freedom in that, not feeling limited by circumstances, opinions, others, my partner, or society, or whatever it is, and just knowing that that is truly who I am. To me, that's the ultimate, state of limitless state of being. Really being able to embody and like own that.
And it's that choice that we're making, that you're making, that Rick's making, that I'm making, the choice to see the good in humanity, the choice to know that as humans, we are good. We are love. We are compassionate. We are kind. We are beautiful. We have hearts of gold because I like to think of the heart as platinum. I don't know what else. Maybe kryptonite. Kryptonite. I don't
The
know.
heart is light. Maybe it's the ultimate light,
Yeah,
right?
I believe it is. I believe it is. And I believe it's that part of us, which is all of us, that is healing at once. I mean, the show you two are doing. Oh, some people are jumping on. What are they saying, Rick?
Oh, it's just hi, Rob. Rob just said he came in a little late, but he's gonna catch the whole show later after it's recorded. So it's like,
Okay, good. And someone else came on. Did you see that one?
That was my mom.
Oh, how beautiful.
That's my
Oh,
mom. Hi,
hi, Lu-
mom.
hi, Louisa. Blessings.
She
Oh,
figured out how to click the link.
yay. That's wonderful. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. What a joy. What a joy that we can have being here together on the internet, right? We can see the good. Um, Relationships are meant to teach, right? Whether it's dating and there's someone else, who is that?
Dina, she's saying we only live one life. Might as well live your happiest life.
Oh, beautiful. I agree. And you know what? It can take time to get there.
Well, in some ways, and I know me and Fatigue sometimes um, go back and forth a little bit on this one because I truly believe like it's one thought that pulls us away and it's one thought that brings us back. And I know personally, speaking with I've only had one marriage, 44 years of it, and but it's recreated moment by moment by moment. And I know that when there's a touchy part, like a sticky part, like things aren't flowing, it's me. I point back to me. Okay, so how am I contributing to this? Like, where am I in? Because I believe life reflects what I'm thinking, my mood state, right? And if I'm experiencing life through the feelings of my thinking, then there's something off there. There's something off there. And it could be a condition, it could be a preference that's being rubbed up against, it's like habitual thinking, all these different things that could be it, right? But the minute I recognize it and aware of it, right? And this is what scares my wife a few times is I get to fall in love with my wife again
I get that.
when I let go,
Yeah.
right? I just fall back into love with her
Mm.
again
Mm.
every single time. And then she goes, it's like,
Because Rick, there was never an obstacle, right?
oh, it was never, that's right. And I often use this little thing all the time until I put this cloudy thinking in front of me, right?
Every time.
I love that. I love
I love that
Stinking,
too.
thinking kind of
yeah.
a thing, right? It's like, oh, she never thanks me for this, or she never says love me, or all this kind of stuff. Because I'm a firm believer that we all are at the level of our understanding at any moment. That's where we are, right? We're all at that level. And if I put a condition on that I have to have somebody say I love you like 10 times a day, like how silly is that? Like what that's a condition, right? And
And it's about them. It's not about you. Yet it's about you. Well,
oh,
it's about you when you have it. And
yeah,
that's, can I share something with you? Because I
you
love what you're saying. I just
go
love
for
it,
it.
love it, love it, love
Go
it.
for it.
The reason why the relationship I have now is so healthy is because I'm always looking at it from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll say something and I get a feeling in myself like, ooh, was that a kind thing I just said? Was I kind of cranky or tired or kind of itchy, or in an overwhelm or just in a state of doing and I
Oh,
wasn't
I could be a
considerate?
jerk.
Right,
I
I
could be
can
a
too.
first class jerk. Yeah,
And what
absolutely.
a gift, what a gift, what a gift. And this is the gift. The gift is we don't need to judge ourselves from being a jerk.
No.
And when you can, and I teach that right now with my clients and in my private free Facebook group, which I'd love to share, which I'm so excited about. When I teach it because it comes from a place of unconditional love. You're not beating yourself up. You're not beating them up. You're just saying, oh, wait a minute, just like you were saying, Fati, I have a little part in this. Kind of it's
Mm-hmm.
99% to 100% my part
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
for me. And that's where the gift comes in of being so gentle and kind. When, oh, I messed up. Sorry about that. Or you go to sleep and say, you know what? I don't think it was nice to you or the words came out the way I meant them when I said. Because it's that level of clarity, Rick, that you're talking about too, that you have around your wife. And Adina saying, learning to apologize for being a jerk. I agree. Adina, it's a great skill. Skill number 101, right? Am I being a jerk today?
So to that piece, actually, this is something that I learned from my kids therapist during the pandemic, because I felt I was so charged. There are moments where you're so stressed and you're being bitchy, like you're saying, or like I was under so much pressure that I would react and then I would feel terrible about it. I'm damaging my kids, like what parents, when I was getting my head around that. And she was like, it's not about you always doing it right. When you do something that is not that you didn't show up at your best, repair.
Mhm.
Just go back and repair, right? Own it, apologize and repair. Your children don't expect you to be perfect, and when you do the repair job, you're kind of fixing it. And you're showing them that it's okay to do something that's not perfect. It's okay to make mistakes as long as you see it, you own it, you learn from it, and you apologize. So that's always stuck with me. She's like, don't worry about what happened. You didn't damage them for life as long as you go and repair. And I always say their therapist was more for me than for them, you know?
Yes.
It was such an important, and another thing that she used to always say that stuck with me was like, always like pay attention to what's being normalized, like don't normalize it. If it's not, speak to it, like just talk about it. And it's the same concept of like always wanting to look perfect, never wanting to make mistakes. And it's much more beneficial for that, even in your relationship, right, with your partner, to just show your vulnerability, show that you do make mistakes as well, in spite of being a coach, in spite of knowing all the right things to do. I still make mistakes and I can own it, take responsibility and come and apologize, repair, right? So yeah, I don't know why this came up as we were talking about apologizing, because that word, and it goes back to our conversation around labels, Rick. How the word apology has this weight on it of I did something wrong and now I'm apologizing. And when she used that word repair, it just landed in a very different way for me. I just got it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I fell short today. I'm going to go and repair. I'm not going to waste my time feeling bad about myself and then get angry and then react and then,
Or
feel sad.
or even add it to your baggage. Like
Exactly.
just not like
Exactly.
the lightness is releasing that part, right? And I think that kind of comes along the whole lines of forgiving, right? But like I remember at the beginning of our conversation we talked about and this is where I think where love actually grows. is because the universe itself is always expanding. It's always wants to expand through us, right? And we have the capacity to do that when we release the conditions, when we release the baggage, when we release, because then we get to express ourselves fully the way we were designed to be, right? It's sort of like, taking your hands off the wheel and trust it. And I got this new car that actually kind of drives itself a little bit. It's really freaky. um, but I hit the button, and I hit the sort of set button kind of a thing, and it's like I can sit back and relax. And when I notice, when I take the condition, when I take and forgive myself, right? Because I'm not forgiving like nobody can really hurt me, right? So I forgive myself for that. There's an expansion that happens. And I know it's a song, but love grows.
It does grow.
Right?
It does grow.
It does grow.
Yeah. I wanted to add something that Fati was saying. One of the things I learned, and I love that, I'm just kind of ruminating the love grows right now. I'm kind of seeing the garden and seeing the rainbows with the words that you were saying, Rick. And one of the things that Fati was saying, and something that I learned, were the words, "This is something I do and I can undo it." I could learn that from Dr. Robert Anthony, and that really freed me. So, we are using the word apology and repair. Okay, I was doing this, I can undo it.
Yes.
And that feels really gentle for me
Mhm.
in anything. So, oh my goodness. I just saw the time. It's getting close.
Close to what, Joanne?
Oh, I don't know. Close to the love time.
It's funny. Like that's a word that I think has kind of been misunderstood and commercialized. Right?
Which word? Apology or love?
Love. Like it to me, it's the small L love that people keep. It's like show them how you love them by giving them this huge big diamond ring or these roses and all this kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, I love giving my wife gifts, right?
I'm sure she loves it too.
I was going to say the same thing for T.
We think alike, Joanne.
I was looking for some jewelry. There's a couple of things that are common theme in our life is that we both love angels and we both love butterflies. And one of the first piece of jewelry that I gave my wife was a butterfly, and because it's so symbolic of transformation, right? And for a butterfly to be a butterfly, it has to let go of being a caterpillar.
Mm-hmm.
So and at that moment of time, it blossoms into something far more beautiful, right? And the unfortunate part is, and I think what people need to really embrace is you forgot that you are a butterfly.
Yeah.
You're not the caterpillar anymore. It's time to be a butterfly. Now I'm going to go into the spread your wings and fly away.
We want to see your wings now. Pull out the wings.
We all have our wings. I love that. We all have our wings. We'll put our wings on when we're connecting to the infinite, right?
Yeah.
So our wings are always there. They're just invisible, and we get to see them when we feel that capital LOVE.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that would have been really great if you pulled out some wings, though.
No, or if I put my wings on, right?
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So I do want to give you a chance to tell us a little bit about your services, just so people know. And I'll gather some of your contact information and things like that, and so that'll be posted in the recording. Like I'll have it in the description link, so people can get a hold of you and
Thank you.
things like that. So if can you tell us a little bit about your coaching?
Sure. First, I want to thank you so much, because this has been pure joy from my heart. Just a beautiful experience, and to be with two people with such love in their hearts. I am so grateful. I am so
Thank
grateful.
you, Joanne.
So grateful.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that. We'll all do it. We'll all do it. Here we go.
Screenshot.
Beautiful. So I do work with individuals one-to-one. I do packages, and I do have a conversation, one or two, with somebody first to see what they're looking for. And if I'm not the right person, who do I know that I can refer them to? Because you can just do so many one-to-ones, and I'm not looking to do a billion. I just do a few. And I love that because I get to be part of their journey on that level. And then and what else do I do? And I have a private Facebook group now. It's free. And so grateful for that, because that's the way I can serve people that will say, Joanne, it costs a lot of money to work with you. Yes, it does. And now it doesn't have to. Now I can give from my heart. And any women that are listening, anyone that that this would be a fit for, it is called Reigniting. It's fairly new. Reigniting intimacy, passion, and love in your marriage. And yet, whether you have a ring on your finger or not, whether you're in a committed relationship or not, the tools are all about love. And they'll help anybody wherever they are. And I have people that are in all phases of their love life. And I have a website, and I have a YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. Can you tell us what they are?
Sure. The website is pathways2relationships.com, all spelled out with the TO, pathways2relationships.com, and the relationships is plural. And it's Pathways to Relationships, which is my YouTube channel.
And that's also your Instagram, I believe, because I was stalking you today.
Oh, okay, good. You know more about me than I do when it comes to social media.
Yeah, because that's what I use the most. And I was like, oh, that's her.
Oh, that's great. I love that. And I go by Joanne Love. And I took Love as my last name on Facebook because I met someone that did that. And I thought, oh, I would love to have Love as my last name. So it's Joanne Sapers is my human name, and my Facebook human name, I guess, is Joanne Love.
Gotcha. Love it.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I love to talk to anybody, and a conversation is just a conversation. If I can offer support and guidance in any way, it doesn't mean we're working together. I think of you as my client as we're talking to each other, whether it's one time or many. So.
And like I said earlier in the introduction, go to Joanne's website, and I threw the link in the chat there so people could see it right away. And just go to the testimonials. Like we're talking, like it's just the real thing.
Thank you.
Right? For me, and there's not just one or two. There's a series of them, and that's where it's at, right? So thank you, Joanne.
Thank you. This has been just a beautiful experience, and thank you. And I can't wait to share who the two of you are on my Facebook page, so they can get to know both of you. Absolutely. You're both big hearts. Lots of love.
And I have the feeling that we'll see you again on here. I'm just planting seeds right now.
I would love that. Anytime. And
I do that really well, apparently, planting seeds.
Okay. I can feel there's a whole garden coming through.
Just letting the love grow.
With a lot of butterflies flying around, Rick.
That's right.
Yeah.
And caterpillars on some of the trees. Getting ready.
All righty.
Thank you so much.
So thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you for your comments and questions. And I guess we're back next week, aren't we, Fati?
Yeah, we're going to be back next week, and who knows where it's going to take us.
Absolutely. And if anybody wants to direct us into any particular direction, please get in touch with us and let us know what a topic is, and let us know on your comments. And we'll share them with Joanne too, as we as we see them, as people watch the recordings and things like that. And so it's good to hear. So whoops, what do we got here? Yeah, looking for. Thank you, Adina.
So much love in the chat, Joanne. I got to tell you. And maybe a little jealous here. We're not getting all these hearts every week.
It's for all three of us, I can tell. All of us.
All
It
right.
was so good to have you on, Joanne. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
It was an honor
Thank
to
you.
have you here. Looking forward to talking to you again soon.
I will look forward to it. We'll stay connected. Thank you.
Sounds
Lots
good.
of blessings.